I'm Troy Stegner of Zia Comics, Talk Nerdy to Me, and you are watching This Week in Nerd.
Hey, listen!
If you're wondering why I look a little scruffy with the neck beard here, it's because it's No Shave November. You don't get a haircut or shave during the month of November. The money you saved by not doing that, you donate to cancer research. I implore you guys, even if you do shave during November, to please use that. This is a good excuse to go and donate to cancer research. Starting out on a little bit of a sad note here, two-time Academy Award-winning screenplay writer William Goldman passed away, age of 87. If you don't recognize that name, he was the screenplay guy for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but you probably know him from The Princess Bride. He wrote the novel and did the screen adaptation for that movie, as well as some other really popular movies like Stepford Wives, Marathon Man, and All the President's Men. Mr. Goldman, you will be missed. Another iconic figure in pop culture passed away this past week. Stan Lee died at the age of 95. He was probably the biggest ambassador for comics. Everybody knows Stan Lee just from his cameos in the Marvel movies. If you ask somebody who's not a big comic fan to name one name associated with comic books, more times than not, they're going to tell you Stan Lee. Stan Lee was instrumental in a lot of the earlier comic book titles and characters being created. He was very motivational, very instrumental in a lot of comic books being brought out to print, and he will be sorely missed. Rest in peace, Stan Lee. All right, guys, this is getting me excited. On Thanksgiving, a lot of people are either watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade or a football game, or there's not really a whole lot out there for us nerds. Until now. IFC is going to have a 24-hour marathon of Pee-wee's Playhouse. That's right. 45 episodes of the 5 seasons of Pee-wee's Playhouse plus the Christmas special going to be run back-to-back on IFC. This show, oh God, I used to love Pee-wee's Playhouse. I had the little action figures. I knew every character on there. I used to actually get excited for the word of the day and try to catch it during the show. You're going to see Lawrence Fishburne too if you watch this marathon. He played Cowboy Curtis in the Pee-wee's Playhouse episodes. Like I said, man, Paul Rubens. This show was for me was just I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. And now I hope they make this a annual marathon because, man, I can only watch so many balloons floating down New York. And, I've kind of grown out of watching football. I don't get as much into sports anymore. So this is a welcome addition to my Thanksgiving ritual. Thank you, IFC. I told you guys a couple weeks back about the new Doctor Who with Jodie Whittaker. I'm warming up to it. I loved Doctor Who, starting with the Ninth Doctor with Eccleston. Eccleston will always be my doctor. In my book, he's the best doctor ever. Although Smith and Tennant were really good. I did really like them, but Eccleston was he was my first, man. Eccleston broke my Doctor Who cherry. I loved Eccleston. Matt Smith and David Tennant were really good. I kind of fell off the Doctor Who boat with Capaldi. I couldn't really get into Capaldi. I don't know why. He's a great actor. I didn't get into his episodes. I've been watching. I jumped back on with this new, its first female Doctor. So far, not bad. I can't complain about it. It's a whole new set of villains where I've got kind of tired. How many times can we see the Cybermen and the Daleks and Maestro? They're dreaming up some new things to put her in, new trouble for her to get out of. She's a pretty good doctor. She's just quirky enough. I could have done without the really quirky outfit, but hey, they had to do something to make her different. Don't mind it. Doctor Who is known for Christmas specials until this Doctor. They're breaking the mold with her again. There won't be a Christmas special for this Doctor. They are instead doing a New Year's Day special. January 1st, they're going to show the new special. I believe starting on Christmas Eve, they're going to start doing all the Christmas specials leading up to her New Year's Day special. So that's something new. Doctor Who on New Year's Day. New Doctor Who, New Year's Day. They're calling it Who Year's Day. I'm okay with that. I also got a little tired of seeing those stupid robotic, Santas. The first couple of times they were cool. Then, there's only so many times you can rehash those villains. Let's put them to bed and get some new villains. So Doctor Who, New Year's Day, I'm watching it. Comic book titles have had a lot of success translating into movies and TV recently. We've had all the Marvel Netflix series. DC streaming service with their animated stuff is killing it. The Marvel movies are doing awesome. DC on a lesser scale. We're actually going to see some of the independent stuff with Bloodshot from Valiant is getting its own movie through Sony. They're digging a little deeper out of the superhero realm. We're going to get a adaptation for TV of Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire. Still one of the big titles. It's Vertigo, which is owned by DC, so I consider that one of the big titles. They are associated with DC Warner. Sweet Tooth is a very interesting post-apocalyptic world. This guy who is a human deer hybrid is trying to just survive, and it's following his life in this post-apocalyptic world. Very well written. Jeff Lemire is a really good writer. If they adapt this good, I'm waiting to see how they're going to do the CGI because, like I said, he is a deer-human hybrid, so he actually has antlers in the deer ears. So it's going to be interesting to see how much cash they throw into the special effects to make this believable. Great comic book. Can't wait to see this on the small screen on TV. I believe it's going to be on Hulu, probably Hulu exclusive. The Hulu and Netflix and those guys are really getting into the original content. They want you to have a reason to subscribe to their streaming service. Can't blame them. So they're going into some of this comic book world that hasn't been touched, but the non-superhero comic book world. Looking forward to it. Good on you, Hulu, for taking this jump and going away from superheroes into the different area of comic books. Can't wait. Another comic book that is being made into a movie, Birds of Prey. I've talked about that a few times now also. Great casting on this. It looks like it's going to be awesome. They have announced another person who is going to be playing the young Cassandra Cain in this. And it is none other than Ella J. Basco. If the name Basco sounds familiar, that's because her uncle is Dante. Dante played in Hook. He's famous for that role. Dante, we've had him at a few of our cons. Great guy, really down to earth, good with the fans. Everybody seems to love him. He's really, really proud of his niece and goddaughter, Ella J. Basco, getting this role. He's gone on Twitter and gone online social media to brag on her, and as he should, man. Good on you, Dante, and congratulations to Ella J. It seems the trend lately is to take a lot of the old Disney cartoon titles and make them live action. I mean, we've had Jungle Book that did really well. They're getting ready to do another one. I'm not sure what I feel about this. I was kind of skeptical. I looked at it. They're making a live action Dumbo with a CGI elephant that can fly. I was really, really thinking this was going to suck until I saw some of the names attached to this. This thing is going to be directed by Tim Burton. You guys should know that name. We also have Michael Keaton, Colin Farrell, Danny DeVito. Those three names, along with Burton directing it, I gotta think it's going to do well. I mean, I was also skeptical about Jungle Book, and I loved Jungle Book. It did great, and they had a lot of big names attached to it as well. Dumbo, great tragic type story. A lot of sad parts in Dumbo, along with some good humor and laugh parts. Burton is really good at that kind of macabre, melancholy type thing. So I'm hoping that he hits another home run with Dumbo. Looking at the trailer for Dumbo, we can see Michael Keaton is playing. He's doing really good at playing the villain lately. You know, he stole the show in Spider-Man: Homecoming as the Vulture. Without him in there, that movie would have been completely different. I don't know how anybody else could have done it better than he did. He actually made me root for the Vulture. The Vulture in the comics was a throwaway type villain, some old geezer dude in a green suit. Keaton made Vulture scary in Homecoming. He plays a rich entrepreneur who wants to buy the circus after they figure out Dumbo can fly. Kind of another villain type. He has just done so well as villains. I can't wait to be so. I want them to surprise me with Dumbo and how good it is. So March 2019 coming up this spring. I will probably do a review on Dumbo. You can check out that review and see what me and everyone else thinks about Dumbo. Just when you thought you were done with the Leprechaun, they're bringing him back. December 11th, I believe it's going to be on digital and on demand. They're bringing back the Leprechaun. I believe it's called Leprechaun Returns. I watched the trailer for this thing, and yeah, it's just as bad as the previous Leprechauns. But you know what? I'm probably still going to watch it. The whole idea behind this Leprechaun is, I guess, to get rid of him, they had thrown him down a well where he couldn't get out before. These sorority girls get a house way off the grid. Not just off the grid, but I mean, it's off campus and off grid. It's way out there in the middle of the woods. Not sure how that works with sororities. I thought they'd try to get as close to campus as they could. Don't know why these girls decided to go off campus. There's no electricity, no phone, no Wi-Fi access. So they're completely, like I said, off the grid. They're buying this place. They're going to put in solar power and blah, blah, blah. Well, this house that they're working on is also the one where they threw the Leprechaun down the well. Because, like I said, off the grid, so they didn't have running water. They had the well. Leprechaun thinks they're going to steal his gold, so somehow he pops up out of the well and causes havoc. He will kill anybody trying to get his gold. The Leprechaun series has over 5 movies in it. The Leprechaun even went to space in one of them. It was Leprechaun in Space. You had Leprechaun Back to the Hood. This is not a series that takes itself seriously. It's playing on the camp and the quick scares, a lot of jump scares. But it works. For some reason, it works. And they keep, as long as they keep making money, they're going to keep making more. And if this one does well, guess what? You're going to see another Leprechaun Back to the Well, as long as it keeps making money. You've noticed that all these companies are starting to get their own streaming services. YouTube is starting to veer off from that. They're not doing a whole lot of original content, although they did make Cobra Kai, which, if you haven't watched Cobra Kai on YouTube Red, it's a great nostalgic throwback, good feeling show. You get the feel of the old Karate Kid stuff, but it's modern, because they've grown up. Cobra Kai, great show, watch it. But like I said, YouTube has veered off. They are not doing a whole lot of original content. Instead, they're going to start showing movies for free on YouTube. And how they're doing that is these movies, and they're names you've heard before too, like Terminator and Rocky. They're available now for free, and they are going to sell ads on those movies through YouTube. They have nearly 100 movies in this ad-supported format. A lot of them are classics, like I said, Terminator and Rocky, but some of them are your more B-list type movies like Zookeeper and Cody Banks. Believe it or not, people still watch those, especially if it's for free on YouTube. You can watch YouTube on your TV now, on your smart device. A lot of people watch on iPad or their phone even. And they're selling, you can get ad space on these movies, just like you're buying a regular YouTube ad. Buying the licensing for these movies and then selling ad space on them is probably going to be a lot more cost effective for YouTube than to develop their own original content. Somebody else has already done the heavy lifting and made the movies for them. Like I said, not all of them are big blockbusters, but they're still movies that people watch, that they will watch, and people will buy ad space on them. It's thinking outside the box for YouTube. Instead of trying to compete with making original content, they're just going to use the content that's already out there and monetize it. Smart. Good on you. Disney World and Disneyland will have a Star Wars section starting sometime next year. They're going to have such cool rides. There's going to be the Millennium Falcon. There's going to be all kinds of Star Wars characters walking around in the park. It's just going to be a fully immersive Star Wars experience. So much so, they even got John Williams to do the score for the park. Not for a movie. He did the score for the park. John Williams is great at capturing the emotions of the scenes in the movies. So now he's doing the same thing for the park. The different areas of the park are going to have his music that made especially for the theme park to bring out the emotion that they're looking to elicit from that section of the park. That's just Disney's attention to detail. I think that's going to be a great touch. John Williams is a mastermind with the music. I can't wait to see some of these rides are going to be pulling out. I'm a huge Star Wars fan and Disney fan, so it looks like my vacation next year is going to be planned around Disney World or Disneyland, one of the two, because I am going to go see this new Star Wars exhibit. Next year, we're going to be getting a new Hellboy movie. With a new Hellboy, as a matter of fact. Ron Perlman is, this has been publicized, this is not news. He's out as Hellboy. David Harbour is the new Hellboy. You know David Harbour from Stranger Things. He was the sheriff. He got in a little bit better shape to be Hellboy for the movie. He pulled it off, man. I saw some of the pictures, the set pictures, and yeah, man, he does look like Hellboy. So March 23rd of 2019 is going to be Hellboy's next theatrical release, and to celebrate that, it's also going to be the 25th anniversary of Hellboy. Hellboy came out in '94, debuted. Mike Mignola's character. They are going to be doing a big comic book push. They're re-releasing a special edition of Hellboy Siege of Destruction #1. It's going to be at participating comic book stores. They're going to have a lot of other stuff to celebrate the 25th anniversary as well. So far, they've announced, along with the Siege of Destruction re-release, they're going to have temporary tattoos. You're going to get Right Hand of Doom bookmarks and all kinds of stuff to decorate these stores. Like I said, the Hellboy Day happens March 23rd of 2019. Check your local comic shop to see if they're participating. I know Zia Comics will be. And the film comes out in theaters on April 12th. That's first day of El Paso Comic Con for us. So I probably won't get to see it opening weekend, but mark my words, that very next week, I'm watching Hellboy. Earlier this year, we had Action Comics hit the big milestone 1,000. There was a huge to-do about it. Superman in Action Comics, that 1,000 issues is quite a lot, man. Superman's been around since late 30s. They have another one of their Trinity is going to hit that milestone here next year, I believe in March. Batman, Detective Comics number 1,000. They couldn't have a party for Superman and not have one for Batman. So Detective Comics 1000 is going to have some big things happening. It's going to be Batman's 80th anniversary, or Detective Comics 80th anniversary. They're going to release two big books to celebrate this. Detective Comics number 1000. It will have multiple stories in it. You got the incoming guys, Tomasi and Mankey are going to write and draw the lead story for Detective Comics 1000. You're going to have additional stories by Jeff Johns, a big name. He basically is DC right now. Brian Michael Bendis, who they lured away from Marvel and gave him the keys to Superman. He's going to be writing a story in Detective Comics. Paul Dini, Christopher Priest, Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams, iconic artist. Kelly Jones, Dustin Nguyen, Alex Maleev, and more. This issue, right now, as it stands, they're talking about 96 pages. If you take into consideration a typical comic book is 22, 24 pages, counting cover, this thing is going to be, 3-4 times the size of a normal comic. It's going to be more of a trade paperback type looking, just like with Action Comics, with the thicker covers. I'm imagining they're going to do multiple variant covers. With Action Comics, they did different covers for each of the generations, the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, up to the recent time. I got to think they're going to do the same thing with Batman. Detective Comics, number 1000. Huge milestone, considering a lot of comics anymore don't make it to their second or third year before they get canceled. It seems like only the big ones make it past a couple hundred. So 1,000, that's 80 years worth of stories, man. That's a lot of stories. I'm glad that they are not going to let him turn 80 without some kind of party. He looks good for an 80-year-old. Detective Comics, March. It will hit issue number 1000. Start saving your money now because these variants, I'm sure, are going to put a big dent in your wallet. They're also going to do Detective Comics 80 Years of Batman, the Deluxe Edition. I'm hoping that's going to be in hardback. That'd be a cool one to put on the shelf. It'll look really good there. As always, thank you for watching this video. Mash that bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. If you're one of my auditory-only friends, subscribe to me on your favorite podcast platform. I will see you next week. Later, nerds.
Get nerdy with me. Tell me what game that you get on. Is it card or read? What kind of class do you play, girl? In an RPG.